We're live from New Delhi watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Former US President and Nobel Peace Laureate Jimmy Carter passes away at 100. Funeral to be held on January 9th, which is declared as National Day of Mourning. South Korea orders emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operation system following the crash. Another Jeju Air jet experiences unidentified landing gear issue. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to visit Qatar to hold bilateral talks on strengthening relations across various sectors. Indian Space Research Organisation to launch 2 satellites to demonstrate docking and undocking of spacecraft in orbit will become 4th country to enter the elite club. And in cricket, Jaiswal and Pant keep India's hope alive in Melbourne Test as men in blue strive to save the rubber. Well, former US President and Nobel Peace Laureate Jimmy Carter has passed away at 100. Carter has been in hospice care since mid-February 2023 at his home in Plains, Georgia, the same small town where he was born, and once ran a peanut farm before becoming governor of the Peach State and running for the White House.
My name is Jimmy Carter and I'm running for president.
Jimmy Carter was the 39th President of the United States of America between 1977 and 1981. He was awarded the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize for work to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development. Carter was born on October 1st, 1924 in Georgia. After 7 years' service as a naval officer, he returned to his hometown. In 1962, he entered state politics, and 8 years later, he was elected the governor of Georgia. Carter announced his candidacy for the president in December 1974 and began a 2-year campaign that gradually gained momentum. On November 2, 1976, he defeated Republican incumbent Gerald Ford in the presidential election and was sworn in as the next president. On September 17, 1978, he signed the Camp David Accords, which led to peace treaty between Israel and Egypt. Carter prompted government efficiency through civil service reforms and proceeded with deregulation of the trucking and airline industries. He sought to improve the environment. His expansion of the national park system included protection of 103 million acres of Alaskan lands. To increase human and social services, Carter created the Department of Education, bolstered the social security system, and appointed record numbers of women, blacks, and Hispanics to government jobs. After presidency, he founded the Carter Center in 1982. It's a non-governmental organization that focuses on conflict resolution and health initiatives. In 2002, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. His presidency was marked by feud lows also. The seizure as hostages of the US embassy staff in Iran dominated the news during the last 14 months of his administration. The consequences of Iran's holding Americans captive, together with continuing inflation at home, contributed to Carter's defeat in 1980. Even then, he continued the difficult negotiations over the hostages. Iran finally released the 52 Americans the same day Carter left office. In November 1980, he was defeated by Republican challenger Ronald Reagan in the presidential election. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
Well, Jimmy Carter's 1977 to 1981 presidency included successes like the Camp David Peace Accords, but also enough controversy for US voters to see him as weak and send him packing after only one term. Carter's legacy, however, was largely built on his post-presidency, the longest in U.S. history. Well, Carter's important moments were the Panama Canal. Carter signed a treaty with Panamanian leader Omar Torrijos on September 7, 1977. Morality in politics. Upon his arrival in the Oval Office, Carter placed human rights at the heart of his agenda, and Carter signed the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in 1977. Also, Camp David Accords in September 1978. On Carter's initiative, Camp David Accords was signed between Israeli Premier Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat in his presidential retreat in Camp David for peace between Israel and Palestine. Crisis of confidence. In the summer of 1979, his 5 cabinet members resigned when the economy was rocked by inflation and his approval rating in free fall. He said July 15th in his nationwide television speech that it was a moment of national crisis of confidence in the future of America. Also, the Iran hostage crisis. The hostage crisis, more than 50 Americans were held for 444 days at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran from November 1979 to January 1981. Military rescue mission was failed and Secretary of State Cyrus Vance resigned. The next was the Carter Center. In 1982, he founded the Carter Center, which has focused on conflict resolution, promoting democracy and human rights, and fighting disease. Carter traveled extensively, supervising elections from Haiti to East Timor and tackling thorny global problems as a mediator. The Elders. Carter was also a member of the Elders, a group of former world leaders founded by Nelson Mandela in 2007 to promote peace and human rights. But condolences have been pouring since the announcement of Jimmy Carter's demise was made. But by his deeds, Jimmy Carter embodied simple decency. Biden said America and the world have lost a remark. Incumbent U.S. President Joe Biden delivered his remarks expressing condolences over Carter's death. In his remarks on Sunday, he stated former President Jimmy Carter stands as a model of what it means to live a life of meaning and purpose.
The entire Carter family, on behalf of the world, the whole nation, we send our whole heartfelt sympathies and gratitude. Our gratitude for sharing President Carter with us for so many years. You know, Jimmy Carter stands as a model of what it means to live a life of meaning and purpose. A life of principle, faith, and humility.
While U.S. President-elect Donald Trump paid tribute to former President Jimmy Carter following the announcement of his death on Sunday, saying the challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Various world leaders have taken to social media platform X to express grief over Jimmy Carter's demise. European Parliament President Roberta Metsola and French President Emmanuel Macron, Ukrainian President Zelensky were among the European leaders expressing their sadness, along with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer sending condolences to Carter's family in his post on X. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán wrote that his country will always cherish Carter's memory. Latin American leaders, including Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel and Panama's President José Raúl Mulino also expressed condolences along with the governments of Peru and Venezuela. In their messages, the leaders emphasized Carter's dedication to democracy, acknowledging his contributions to the region during and after his presidency. And updates now on the South Korean plane crash. South Korea's acting president, Choi Sang-mok, on Monday ordered an emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operation system once the recovery work on the Jeju air crash is finished. The acting president, Choi Sang-mok, who was only appointed on Friday, visited the site of the crash on Sunday. South Korea's Director General of Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport said that the country is planning to conduct a special inspection of all 101 Boeing 737-800s in operation in the country with U.S. investigators, possibly including from the beleaguered plane manufacturer Boeing, joining the probe into the crash. Well, South Korea's deadliest air accident ever killed 179 people on Sunday when an airliner belly landed and skidded off the end of the runway, erupting in a fireball as it slammed into a wall at Muan International Airport. Well, also the investigators are examining bird strikes and weather conditions as possible factors in the crash. Transport Ministry officials on Monday said as the pilots made a scheduled approach, they told air traffic control the aircraft had suffered a bird strike. Shortly after the control tower gave them a warning, birds were spotted in the vicinity. The pilots then declared Mayday and signaled their intention to go around shortly before the aircraft came down on the runway in a belly landing and crashed into a structure at the end of the runway.
The control tower advised the pilot with the phrase caution bird activity. At 8:59 a.m., the pilot reported an emergency declaration and go around due to a bird strike. The pilot declared Mayday, Mayday, Mayday 3 times and used the terms bird strike and go around. If there had been more time, there could have been requested preparation measures such as dispatching fire trucks to stand by and preparing for emergency landing. Typically, in such cases, the pilot makes these requests and the control tower coordinates by placing firefighting teams on standby.
And for more, we have Anil Thomas joining us. Well, Anil, given the recent landing gear malfunction on a Jeju air flight just a day after the Muan disaster, a lot of questions are being raised there regarding the safety concerns and prevention of them further. Get us more on the incident.
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. Contrasting reports, if one may look at the way things have played out, post that tragedy that took place in the last 24 hours. On one hand, you've got the air traffic control warning the pilot about a bird strike. Second, you've got adverse weather conditions that have gone along with it. But these two don't put together. Civil aviation experts are clearly asking what led to the malfunction of the landing gear not opening. Because, these two, according to many civil aviation experts, don't add up together, especially when it comes to, this particular Boeing plane and its landing gear not functioning well, especially in this time of, the captain announcing Mayday. So, we'll have to wait for the black box has been recovered from the plane. We'll have to wait for the Joint Commission and the National Transport Airport Agency that comes into play, the investigation that happens. And see, South Korea is not in a process of there is a political crisis that's also taking place simultaneously. And I think this particular accident, somewhere, one of the worst that South Korean airlines have seen, but somewhere, bringing all the leaders together, and they seem to be somewhere on the same page, especially when it comes to addressing the victims, addressing the families, and addressing the issue that's before the civil aviation sector. It's united, the political force, but then, it's left 179 people dead. And this is a low-cost airline that started way back in 2005. And it's never seen, such an accident of this magnitude. It's one of the worst that South Korea has seen, and something that shook up the world, especially low-cost airlines once again would face the heat, as we approach New Year. This is flying season. Everyone would love to fly. And I think these kind of hiccups, along with what we saw in Air Canada, clearly upsetting that, flying desire, especially people, and leaving a lot to be desired.
All right, Anil, thank you so much for those details. And moving on, South Korea has started 7 days of national mourning with the acting president flying to the crash site in southwestern Muan for a memorial. Mourners grieved, laid flowers and paid their last respects to the victims of Sunday's plane crash at a memorial center that was set up in the South Korean city of Muan on Monday. Well, as we told you, a day after Mohan disaster, another Jeju Air passenger jet reportedly experienced a landing gear malfunction on Monday. The Jeju Air passenger jet that departed Gimpo Airport in Seoul for Jeju experienced an unidentified landing gear issue after takeoff and returned to Gimpo, where it landed safely. The Jeju Air crash is the worst for any South Korean airline since the 1997 Korean Air crash in Guam, which killed more than 200 people. The Mohan Airport crash also marks the first fatal accident for Jeju Air, one of South Korea's largest low-cost airlines, which was set up in 2005. The disaster is a national tragedy for South Korea, which has been embroiled in a political crisis after President Yoon Suk-yeol and his temporary successor were both impeached by the parliament. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden said on Sunday that the United States is prepared to provide any necessary assistance to South Korea. An Azerbaijani President, Ilham Aliyev, demands that Russia admit that it fired at an Azerbaijan Airlines passenger jet before it crashed, accusing Moscow of initially trying to cover up the cause of the fatal disaster. Aliyev honored the victims of the crash at a ceremony at the Alley of Honor in central Baku. Aliyev also awarded the crew posthumously with the titles of National Hero of Azerbaijan. Aliyev makes the accusation in an interview at Baku airport 4 days after the plane crashed in Kazakhstan, killing 38 of the 67 people on board. Aliyev said he wanted Russia to accept it was guilty of downing the plane and to punish those responsible. Azerbaijani officials have suggested that the aircraft was hit by a Russian air defense system as it tried to land in Grozny, capital of the Russian Republic of Chechnya.
First, the Russian side should apologize to Azerbaijan. Secondly, it must admit its guilt. Thirdly, the guilty must be punished, brought to criminal responsibility, and compensation must be paid to the Azerbaijan state, the injured passengers, and crew members. These are our conditions. The first of them was already fulfilled yesterday. I hope our other conditions will also be accepted.
And still to come on DD India News App. South Korea authorities seek arrest of Yoon over martial law declaration. Syria's new leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa, says holding new elections in Syria could take up to 4 years. And Valencia residents demand resignation of regional leader Carlos Mazin over deadly floods.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Well, 2024 has been quite a journey, especially when we talk about the world of cinema. From the 100 years of Raj Kapoor to India's prowess at Cannes Film Festival, we'll take you through the journey of the year 2024, Selections 2024.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Vipakshi Khurana. Moving on, South Korean authorities have requested an arrest warrant for suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol over his short-lived declaration of martial law. South Korea's Joint Investigation Unit said on Monday that it sought Yoon's arrest on insurrection and abuse of power charges after the impeached leader ignored 3 summons to appear for questioning. A court will decide whether to issue an arrest warrant following the request. Yoon was suspended from presidential powers after being impeached by Parliament earlier this month over his decision to briefly impose martial law. A constitutional court trial is ongoing into whether to reinstate Yoon or remove him permanently from office. It has 180 days to reach a decision. The next hearing is due on the 3rd of January. And moving on, holding on to new elections in Syria could take up to 4 years. Syria's new leader, Ahmed al-Shara, has said in an interview with Al Arabiya on Sunday. This is the first time he has commented on a possible electoral timetable since Bashar al-Assad was ousted this month. Shara revealed plans to draft a new constitution within 3 years. He also said it would take about a year for Syrians to see drastic changes. Shara vowed to dissolve Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the rebel group he once led, signaling a shift towards state governance. He emphasized national unity, promising to protect minorities and resolving disputes, including with US-backed Kurdish forces. Assuring neighbors he rejected ties to the PKK and pledged unity under state control. Shara also appealed for US sanctions to be lifted, underlining strategic ties with Russia. And Croatia's incumbent president, Zoran Milanovic, won the most votes in the first round of presidential election on Sunday, but fell just short of a majority and will have to go to a second round. Facing off against other 7 candidates, Milanovic is leading in the polls with his main challenger, Dragan Primorac, far behind him. Milanovic, the opposition Social Democrat candidate, won 50.1% support. Primorac, the candidate of the ruling Croatian Democratic Union, won 22.3% support. The results came after an exit poll released immediately after the polling stations closed. The two men will face each other in the second round of voting on January 12th. The post of president is mostly ceremonial. The president cannot veto laws but has a say in foreign policy, defense and security matters. And Chad voted in a general election on Sunday that the government had hailed as a key step towards ending military rule. Voting was marked by low turnout. After polling stations closed, turnout stood at 52.37%. The opposition had called for a boycott of the election, saying the results had been decided in advance. Voting in Chad had taken place against a backdrop of recurring attacks by the jihadist group Boko Haram. The government has presented the elections as the final stage in the transition to democracy. President Mohamed Idris Deby Itno took power in 2021 after the death of his father, who had ruled the country for 3 decades. The opposition cried foul, saying numerous irregularities occurred the day before. The boycott leaves the field open for candidates aligned with the president, who has brought to power by the military in 2021 and then legitimized in a presidential election in May that opposition candidates denounced as fraudulent. And Mikhail Kabalashvili was sworn in as president of Georgia on Sunday after the government has suspended its application to join the European Union in a move that sparked major protest. The far-right former footballer was sworn in at a parliamentary ceremony. Georgia's 4 main opposition groups have rejected Kabalashvili and boycotted the parliament. The Georgian Dream ruling party and the country's election commission say that the October election was free and fair. The ruling party says Kabalashvili is the duly elected president. Outgoing President Salom Zurabishvili refused to step down on Sunday, saying she was the only legitimate president and vowed to fight on against the government. Zurabishvili said that Kabalashvili was not duly picked as the October parliamentary election was marked by fraud. Meanwhile, thousands of Georgians protested in the capital Tbilisi as the new president allied with the ruling Georgian Dream Party was inaugurated. A number of protesters were detained by the police. Zurabishvili and protesters have demanded a rerun of the October general elections. And moving on, German security and intelligence chiefs are due on Monday to face questioning about the car ramming attack that killed 5 people and wounded more than 200 at a Christmas market 10 days ago. They will be quizzed about possible missing clues and security failures before the attack, where police arrested the Saudi psychiatrist Talib al-Abdul Mohsen at the scene. Interior Minister Nancy Faeser, Saxony-Anhalt state officials and the head of Germany's domestic and foreign intelligence services are expected to face a closed-door committee hearing in Parliament. Abdul Mohsen is the only suspect in the attack and has been remanded in custody in a top security facility on 5 counts of murder and 205 counts of attempted murder, but not so far on terrorism-related charges. Investigators have yet to declare a suspected motive in the assault that used a motor vehicle as a weapon, which recalled past jihadist attacks, including in Berlin and in the French city of Nice in 2016. Well, Slovakia's healthcare system is facing a dire crisis as doctors in the country are resigning in protest against poor working conditions, insufficient funding and relatively low salaries. Over 3,000 doctors are set to resign on the New Year's Eve because of their frustrations with the government. Doctors accuse the government of breaking promises. In 2022, it signed a 13-point memorandum with the doctors' union that guaranteed wage increases, better training and improved hospital conditions. The Slovak government recently approved a wage boost to ease tensions. It raised pay for nurses but has left doctors feeling betrayed. They're demanding the 9.7% pay rise promised in 2022 instead of the 6.4% currently on the table. Slovakia's government argues that cost cutting is needed to meet budget requirements of the European Union. But doctors say the issue goes beyond pay. And Milan, Italy's second-largest city, will enforce a ban on smoking in outdoor public spaces starting January 1st, 2025 as part of its ongoing climate and air quality improvement efforts. The updated regulation builds on restrictions first introduced in 2021, which prohibited smoking in specific public areas such as stadium, parks, cemeteries and bus stops. Under the new rules, smoking outdoors will only be allowed in designated areas, provided smokers maintain a minimum distance of 33 feet from others. Those who violate the rule will face fines ranging from $43 to $258. The measure is part of Milan's larger environmental initiative aimed at cutting carbon dioxide emissions by half by 2050. In April, Turin enacted a similar ban prohibiting smoking outdoors when others are within a 5-meter distance. Well, Finnish authorities have uncovered evidence of a tanker's suspected role in severing vital infrastructure in the Baltic Sea. Investigators revealed tracks stretching dozens of kilometers along the seabed, where the Cook Islands registered Eagle S is believed to have dragged its anchor, breaking the 658-megawatt Estlink 2-power cable and 4 telecom lines connecting Finland and Estonia. The tanker, part of suspected shadow fleet evading Russian oil sanctions, was boarded on Thursday by Finnish police and Coast Guard officials. Photos taken off the Eagle S on Friday revealed the vessel missing its port side anchor. This incident adds to growing tension in the region after multiple outages in critical infrastructure since Russia-Ukraine conflict. NATO has pledged to boost its Baltic presence as investigations continue. And the Spanish Coast Guards rescued dozens of migrants off the Canary Islands on Sunday. Coast Guards helped the group who were stranded off El Hierro to reach Arguineguin port, while more than 650 migrants arrived to Canary Islands on Saturday. The Canaries have registered the fastest increase in arrivals by sea in the European Union this year. By December 15th, they had received a total of 43,737 migrants, 18.6% more than in the same period last year, according to Spain's Interior Ministry. And in Spain, thousands of protesters on Sunday made their way through the streets of Valencia calling for the resignation of regional leader Carlos Mason over the handling of deadly floods which killed more than 220 people. Local residents have been critical of what they see as lackluster alerts from authorities when the floods hit and the late response by the emergency services. Mason has admitted he had made errors but refused to resign and said the body responsible for measuring water flows run by the national government failed to send sufficient warnings. Well, big waves are pummeling the coast of Ecuador and Peru, leaving scores of ports closed and at least 3 people dead. Peruvian government closed 91 ports, while local authorities rescued 30 fishermen impacted by the rough sea conditions in the northern regions of Tumbes. According to a report by the Peruvian Navy, the swells in the coastal area are expected to last until January 1st. Ecuador's Secretary for Risk Management, Jorge Carrillo, said an extreme event was occurring and warned that similar phenomena could be expected in the future. And still to come, DD India News Hour. Up ahead, a quick weather update from across India. "12,000 dancers break Guinness World Record with largest ever Bharatanatyam performance in Kochi." Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Former U.S. President and Nobel Peace Laureate Jimmy Carter passes away at 100. Funeral to be held on January 9th, which is declared as National Day of Mourning. South Korea orders emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operation system following crash. Another Jeju Air jet experiences unidentified landing gear issue. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to visit Qatar to hold bilateral talks on strengthening relations across various sectors. Indian Space Research Organisation to launch 2 satellites to demonstrate docking and undocking of spacecraft in orbit will become 4th country to enter the elite club. And in cricket, Jaiswal and Pant keep India's hope alive in Melbourne Test as Men in Blue strive to save the rubber. And moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will today leave for Qatar on an official visit. During his 3-day visit, Dr. Jaishankar will meet the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani. The visit will enable both India and Qatar to review various aspects of bilateral relations, including political, trade, investment, energy, security, cultural and people-to-people, as well as the regional and international issues of mutual interest. Well, the Indian Space Research Organisation is set to launch its space docking experiment, Spadex, on Monday. The mission will use PSLV C-60 lifting off at 21:58 IST from Sriharikota. Spadex marks a milestone showcasing India's experience in spacecraft docking technology. Spadex will deploy 2 identical satellites. Key objectives include performing precision rendezvous and docking maneuvers, validating power transfer between docked spacecraft and operating payloads post-undocking with a 2-year lifespan. This capability is vital for India's lunar and interplanetary missions. Docking technology enables multi-launch missions and support future human spaceflight. Only the US, Russia and China have mastered such advancements so far. And now weather updates from across the nation. India Meteorological Department has forecast a dense to very dense fog over Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan during the next 2 to 3 days. Dense fog conditions are also likely to prevail during late night and early morning hours in Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura. The Met Department has predicted cold wave conditions over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Rajasthan during the next 3 days. IMD also forecasted light to scattered rainfall and snowfall over western Himalayan region from 1st to 4th of the next month due to western disturbance. And in Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the traffic on Srinagar-Jammu National Highway plied normally after 270-kilometre long highway was reopened for vehicular traffic on Sunday. The highway remained closed for 2 days since Friday following inclement weather and heavy snowfall in Kashmir region. All stranded vehicles were cleared to reach their destinations on both sides of the highway. However, the Mughal Road, Sonmarg, Kargil Road and Banderwaha Chambal Road in Jammu region remained closed due to snow accumulation. The snow clearance operation by Border Roads Organisation is underway at Jorjala Pass to clear it for traffic movement between Srinagar and Kargil in Ladakh region. The train service between Baramulla and Banihal ran as per schedule with speed limit due to snow accumulation on rail tracks. Air traffic at the Srinagar International Airport was also restored on Sunday. And DT India's Shabir Dar joins us from Srinagar for more on this. Well, Shabir, with the reopening of the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway and the restoration of air and train services, how are the authorities ensuring the safety and smooth operation of these routes amid ongoing snow clearance operations on other critical roads like Mughal Road and Jorjala Pass?
Yeah, the administration took, on the monitoring basis, they restored the national highway which connects Kashmir with the rest of the country. That has been cleared and the traffic on the national highway is flying right now. Similarly, the air transport has also been restored, so which essentially has restored the connectivity of Kashmir with the rest of the country and rest of the world. The other road links which connect Kashmir to the Rajouri and to the Ladakh, they are yet to be restored because heavy snowfall on these roads and the slippery conditions of the roads is hindering the restoration process. But we're given to believe that in a day or two, these roads too will be cleared and the traffic on these infrastructure will be restored, immediately. In addition to this, the electric supply has been restored to the 90% of the population in Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir. And right now, the administration is in full swing to ensure that electricity and the water supply reaches to every household in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, this has been the harshest winter this time around, and heavy snowfall received in Kashmir, which is not only a boon for the agriculture and horticulture sector, but the tourists in Kashmir are upbeat, saying Kashmir turned into a wild fairyland.
All right. Also, Shabir, as you said, the electricity and the water has been restored to the general public. What are the other problems being faced by the locals there?
Yeah, there are some issues of the supplies, like the roads leading to the far up places like Kupwara and Tangdar and other places. There are some supply issues. The essentials have not. Although the people have the essentials there, but the closure of this surface lane definitely leads to the inflation and price hike. That is being taken care by the authorities. The kerosene supply is being ensured that it reaches to the far up places. So one is the road links are open. All these hardships faced by people will be able.
Also, Shabir, how is the influx of the tourists in Srinagar right now, considering we are just a day away from the new year?
Yeah, this on the new year, usually Kashmir receives heavy influx of tourists. But this time, as it snowed, Kashmir is like a white, fairy this time. So tourists who have already arrived are enjoying in Gulmarg and Pahalgam. We have seen the full occupancy of hotels in Gulmarg and in Pahalgam. And as air transport restored, more tourists are expected to arrive today and tomorrow. So Kashmir will have huge influx of tourists, both domestic and foreign tourists. Yes, yesterday we saw tourists enjoying the train ride in Kashmir, and they are saying that they are very happy to celebrate New Year in Kashmir.
All right. Thank you so much, Shabir, for all those details from Srinagar. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. As India's northern state of Himachal Pradesh has been reeling under heavy snowfall, tourists are enjoying in Manali's Solang Valley. Earlier, the state police safely evacuated over 10,000 stranded tourists, where around 2,000 vehicles were trapped in the area. Rath Khada Mela begins in Jammu and Kashmir summer, marking Hindu Lord Surya or Sun God's journey towards Uttarayan or North. The fair is held in the courtyard of Sri Narsingh Temple. This fair is also called Kambal Mela and Pahadi Mela, as the hilly people throughout the year make warm clothes and blankets with their own hands, which they come and sell in this fair. A woman gave birth to a child on Sunday at a makeshift hospital built in Mahakumbh Nagar, the 76th district of North India's Uttar Pradesh. The delivery was conducted by the experienced doctors, and both mother and infant are healthy. For the first time, a delivery facility for pregnant women is being provided in the temporary hospital located in the parade area of the Mahakumbh Mela. A labour room has also been set up apart from other medical facilities. Around 12,000 dancers performed Bharatnatyam in southern India's Kochi to register their name in the Guinness Book of World Records. Apart from Kerala, dancers from various states and foreign countries, including Gulf countries, US, UK, Australia and Canada, participated in the record-breaking event. Guinness authorities handed over a record certificate for the event organised by Mridanga Nadam. And still to come, DD India News Hour. We'll trace the BEAM app's 8-year journey from launch to impact in transforming India's digital payment landscape. Top-ranked Magnus Carlsen rejoins Chess World Blitz champs after Gene's dispute. And New Yorkers and tourists gather for practice confetti drop ahead of New Year's Eve celebration.
Kerala encapsulates the emotion of India with its vibrancy and diversity.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana. On to some business news now. India's Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will today hold pre-budget consultations with industry captains. Earlier on December 26, the Finance Minister Sitharaman chaired the fourth pre-budget consultation with the stakeholders and experts from export, trade and industry sectors in connection with the upcoming budget in New Delhi. The Union Budget 2025-26, which will be the 8th consecutive budget to be presented by Sitharaman, will be tabled in Indian Parliament on the 1st of February. And Bharat Interface for Money BEAM is a payment app that allows users to make quick, easy and simple transactions using the Unified Payment Interface or UPI. The National Payment Corporation of India developed BEAM and launched it on December 30, 2016. The app's goal is to promote financial inclusion and make India a digitally empowered society. More in this report.
Bharat Interface for Money, BEAM, is a payment app for quick and easy UPI transactions. Launched by the National Payments Corporation of India on December 30, 2016, it aims to promote financial inclusion and a digitally empowered society. India's digital public infrastructure has grown to become a role model for the world.
So other countries could copy and learn from India's experience, but they should also tell themselves, we don't have to depend on the rich countries. We may not even want to let the rich countries be the ones who are in charge, because they may not lead to the kinds of improvements in the quality of life that we really want for our citizens.
Users can send and receive money via UPI ID or QR code, pay bills, book flights, and recharge phones, tracking their transaction history. Since 2016, UPI has enabled fast, secure transactions for individuals, merchants, and banks. In 2023, Mark Rutte, then Netherlands' Prime Minister and now NATO Secretary General, was impressed by buying coffee in Bengaluru using UPI.
Well, it looks very simple and easy, but I have no idea of all the ramifications, so I cannot claim that I'm now an expert on this, but it was fascinating to go through the experience once. But more importantly is what you can buy with it.
Here's how Beam UPI works. VPA, unique address for transactions. Mobile Aadhaar, link to bank account for easy access. UPI PIN, 4 to 6 digit secure PIN. Limits, daily transaction limit of 100,000 rupees or approximately $1,370.
Not only seeing people buying groceries, but also being very impressed by your UP, Unified Payments Interface, a digital instant payment system if you would just buy fruits on the street. I thought this would be impossible in Germany.
Most major banks in India, including public sector, private sector, and cooperative banks, participate in the Beam UPI ecosystem. The system is also accepted in a few other countries such as Singapore, UAE, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Mauritius, due to partnerships and collaborations between NPCI and other countries' payment systems. Additionally, NPCI has enabled cross-border transactions with the United States and United Kingdom and is exploring more partnerships globally. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Europe's Markets and Crypto Assets Act will come into effect on Monday across the 27-member bloc. This is the world's first comprehensive crypto regulatory framework aimed at regulating cryptos and enhancing market transparency. MiCA is the EU's regulatory framework designed to standardize and regulate the crypto market, focusing on investor protection, financial stability, and innovation. The Act provides a framework for crypto asset markets to address concerns related to market abuse, investor protection, and operational resilience. MiCA consists of 7 titles covering platform and issuer requirements, market abuse prevention, and cross-border cooperation among EU regulators, with specific rules for different types of crypto assets. The Act excludes certain assets like financial instruments under other EU laws, non-fractionalized NFTs, CBDCs, and non-transferable assets like loyalty points, allowing flexibility for innovation. Well, you're watching DD India News. Our time now for some sports news. In cricket, Australia bowled out for 234 in their second innings of the 4th Test in Melbourne, setting India a target of 340 runs for victory on the final day. Yashasvi Jaiswal and Rishabh Pant orchestrated a brilliant partnership of 88 runs before the latter threw his wicket away. Ravindra Jadeja and Nitish Reddy didn't last for long either. The match seemed to be heading towards a draw, but Travis Head and Bolland struck the jackpot in the form of Pant and Jadeja. Earlier, India suffered earlier setbacks with the failure of veterans. Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc emerged as big wicket takers for Australia. By lunch, India had lost 3 wickets for just 33 runs while chasing 340. The series is currently tied at 1-1 with the final match scheduled to take place in Sydney from January 3rd. And India's Narayan Singh joins us with the latest on this. Well, Narayan, with Australia setting India a challenging target of 340, how confident do you think Indian team is going to be in the final day of the Melbourne Test, especially considering Bumrah's outstanding performance and the pressure of chasing the highest 4th innings total in Melbourne?
Good morning, Lipakshi. The way things went out right now India is looking in deep trouble, considering the fact that they lost the sixth wicket, they lost the Jadeja also, and the hero of the first inning in this Melbourne Test match, Nitish Kumar Reddy, too also departed. So things are not looking flowery for India. And today, if you talk about the day fifth, and we saw an absorbing Test match between the two heavyweights of the cricket right from the day one, and the match went till the fifth day, and it's true, we can say that the reflection of the Test cricket. But today there were a lot of expectation from the senior pros of the Indian team, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and as well as the KL Rahul, who was the standout player for the Indian team throughout the series. And today we need, the whole India, the whole country needed exceptional inning from them, but they disappointed. And then a good partnership between the way held between the two, we can say that the Gen Next of the Indian cricket team, between Yashasvi Jaiswal and Rishabh Pant, we can say that sparked some hope for the Indian team. But after the departure of Rishabh Pant, things didn't went well for the India. They lost Ravindra Jadeja, they lost Nitish Kumar Reddy, and the way things happened, we know that as you mentioned, that the mammoth target is there, 340. It's on day 5. It's not very easy to chase a 340 run, but it is not impossible to. In the past, India did these things. Last time in 2021, they toured Australia in the Brisbane match. They chased a target of 329 runs. But in that match, we saw in the session 1, India scored 82 runs with the loss of 1 wicket. And the next session, they added 100 more runs. And finally, they achieved the target. But today, what happened? We lost the 3 wickets early. And after that, definitely it's going to be difficult for the middle order too. But the way Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi Jaiswal raised some hope. But now, down the order, Yashasvi is still there. Still, we can say that anything is possible. Nothing is impossible in the cricket. And the way things are happening, Washington Sundar is there and Jaiswal is there. So we hope that they take the things slowly and will try to execute at least a draw in the match. Because in the context of the WTC, it is very important, and also to retain, if India want to retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy, at least they should go for a draw. And finally, when the things will go in the Sydney, there we can do things better there.
All right, Narayan, thank you so much for joining us with those details. And moving on, the blockbuster clash against India on Monday became the best attended test in Australia's history as fans flocked to the Melbourne cricket ground for the final day. Over 350,700 spectators have passed through the gates at the Melbourne cricket ground during the 5-day test, with still more expected. This remarkable figure surpasses the previous record established in 1937 when Sir Don Bradman ruled the sport and tests were played over 6 days. And top-ranked chess player Magnus Carlsen has confirmed his return to the World Blitz Championship tournament on Monday. FIDE has agreed to relax a dress code that had previously led to him being fined and excluded from a late-round game in another tournament for refusing to change out jeans. FIDE President Arkady Dvorkovich stated on Sunday that tournament officials would now consider allowing jeans paired with a jacket and dress code. Meanwhile, Carlsen announced in a video that he would compete and wear jeans at the World Blitz Championship starting Monday. And moving to India's Kabaddi League, Haryana Steel Stars won their first ever Pro Kabaddi League title after defeating Patna Pirates in an epic final in Pune on Sunday. Steelers, who finished top of the table in the league stage during PKL Season 11, produced an outstanding display on the mat to get better of Patna Pirates 32-23. For the Haryana Steelers, Shivam Patare scored 9 points. Mohammad Reza Shadloni bagged 7 and Vinay added 6 more to the cause. The champions were awarded 3 crore rupees, whilst the runners-up Patna Pirates bagged 1.8 crore Indian rupees. And ahead of the framed ball drop on New Year's Eve, crowds gather to watch a practice confetti drop in New York City's Times on Sunday. On New Year's Eve, there will be 3,000 pounds of confetti released to ring in 2025.
Happy New Year! Whoa, look at that. is sweet. We all want good health, a good job, love, success for our family. More confetti or we
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News App. And let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News App.